Hey there, guys. I'm Alec Marxen, seed representative here in central Minnesota with Beck's Hybrids. The date today is July 19th, and we are at our Minnesota Practical Farm Research site here in Gibbon, Minnesota. With me today is our regional agronomist, Mike Blaine, and we're standing in front of our planting date, my fungicide response study, and have some good visuals for you to see here. Mike, if you want to run through some of what we're seeing here.
Absolutely. Thanks, Alec. I think the key thing here, and Alex mentioned it, planting dates. So we're looking at planting dates from April 6th to June 10th. And then layered on top of that would be R3 applications of a PFR proven fungicide. So we're coming in, we already came into that April 6th planting date about 9 days ago at R3 and put the fungicide application on. And then we can transition all the way to our May 10th, which is at R2 today. And then our June 10th, which is just coming into that third to fourth vegetative stage, that third to fourth trifoliate. So we go back to these this first planting date. We're at R4 today, where we have a fully developed node or pod at one of the four uppermost nodes. So again, the timing was at R3, and we're going to see. The question often is, I planted early, what's the fungicide response versus planting late? I planted late because Mother Nature didn't allow me to plant that April 25th to May 1st when I'd love to plant for the most part for the average grower. So what's the fungicide what's the net value of a properly applied fungicide at R3?
Awesome. I'm excited to keep watching these studies as they progress through the season. And now we'll transition to looking at some corn.
Very good. Thanks.
Hey there, guys. We're back standing in front of one of our new PFR studies here. And we thought that a relevant and timely topic, something to bring up and touch on, was some of the rootworm pressure that we're seeing out in fields right now. And Mike has some good visuals here highlighting some of the key signs that you have rootworm beetles out in your field present.
Very good. Nope, Alex, absolutely. I think the first thing growers are noticing, they're out looking at their tassel, silking, pollination success, especially on the first fields. And what we're finding in those continuous corn fields and conventional corn that's been out there for the last couple of years, very high levels of corn rootworm beetles, both northerns and westerns. And the first place for most growers are seeing them is on the silks, feeding into the silks. And I've been in fields here this past week where we're averaging in excess of 9 beetles per plant. Had a high of 13. So in those very long-term cornfields where we haven't had prior rootworm management in neither insecticide or rootworm trait, the rootworms have done very well the past few years, and their populations are very high. So that's out there. A complement to that, when we're looking and counting beetle numbers, we're also digging plants and looking at root feeding. And again, the larvae were in the soil. They've hatched. The larvae in the soil. They've pupated, and we've had root feeding. And this is a non-rootworm hybrid. Very good rooted hybrid, but what, interesting enough, finding on each one of the nodal roots, that 7th through 9th true root node, we did have root feeding. And this was a field where we were averaging in excess of 3 beetles per plant. So they're out there. So for growers, beetle management is one of those one-off topics. I encourage you, if you haven't already, look at the June 2021 Crop Talk article on adult rootworm beetle management. And there we talk about managing this year to minimize yield losses if you have very high beetle numbers, clipping silks, and or if you're looking ahead to 2022 or subsequent years, and you need to employ either an insecticide or rootworm, and beetle scouting is a base of that decision. If you're not normally using traits or insecticide, knowing how many beetles you have out there right now will help you make a better decision in 2022.
Absolutely. Yeah, and if everyone can mark their calendars for August 18th, join us here in Gibbon for our Minnesota Practical Farm Research Field Day.
Thank you, Alec.
Thank you, Mike.